The Fenway Sports Group, otherwise known as FSG, hold a majority ownership in Liverpool. Acquiring the club in 2010, FSG have developed a negative reputation amongst supporters due to their reluctance to offer any significant investment into the club. In today's video, we have some huge FSG news after the latest developments. We will look into this in today's video, whilst also going over all the latest Liverpool news from the last 24 hours. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. But first, Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk are both said to be desperate to stay at Liverpool and extend their contracts beyond the summer. That is according to the reliable Sky Sports reporter Melissa Reddy, who writes of the duo's desire to remain at the club, but that there has been no breakthrough in talks. Reddy, who has close connections at Anfield, adds that contract offers to the two players will not be affected by events surrounding Trent Alexander-Arnold's likely departure, with some reports suggesting that the freeing up of wages would allow for larger offers to Van Dijk and Salah. However, on a more positive note, Reddy adds that the optimism is still strong that the pair will remain. Both Salah and Van Dijk have, unlike Alexander-Arnold, spoken openly about their desire to remain at Liverpool beyond their contracts expiring in the summer, with 9 games of the season remaining. The most recent comments from Van Dijk, when he insisted that he himself had no idea on his future, were most concerning and had offered a change in tone from the Dutchman. Salah too has recently said similarly that there has been no breakthrough in contract talks. Speaking last month, Salah outlined his determination to deliver a second league title, with his motivation being that it can be celebrated properly with supporters, unlike 5 years ago. That's why I'm really desperate to win the Premier League with the club now and have the same day as this one. It's going to be unforgettable because I know how much it means to win the Premier League. Now, in some huge FSG news, Fenway Sports Group have long signalled their intent to add another football club to their portfolio, and they are reportedly exploring a deal for Spanish second-tier side Malaga. When Michael Edwards returned to work for FSG a year ago, it was with a remit to acquire a second club, and that has yet to be realised. There was an attempt to buy Bordeaux, but Liverpool's owners ultimately pulled out of any deal, and since then, there have been few updates on any progress. The Athletic's David Ornstein has now offered just that, reporting that FSG are exploring a deal to purchase Malaga, who are currently 15th in the second tier of Spanish football. A delegation is said to have visited their facilities in February to evaluate a potential acquisition, with their focus on the stake of majority shareholder Sheikh Abdullah Al Thani. Much like Bordeaux, the club is in financial strife, having been in administration since 2019, and this appeals to FSG's desire to acquire a club with strong traditions and growth potential. They are not the only interested suitors though, as PSG's owners Qatar Sports Investments are, as per ESPN, described as being in the process of finalizing the purchase of Malaga. It is reported that discussions are being held over an agreement of £83 million, which will certainly be watched closely by Edwards and Liverpool's owners. Thus, how serious the exploration into Malaga is remains unclear, as Ornstein adds that FSG appear to be exploring multiple options, having made visits to a handful of Spanish clubs over the last year. Levante, Elche, Espanyol, Getafe and Valladolid are name-checked as clubs Liverpool's owners have conducted due diligence over, while the French market is also of interest. The process of acquiring a second club is not straightforward, as seen with Bordeaux, and FSG are intent on finding the right fit rather than rushing to add to their portfolio. It is not hard to see why there is interest in Malaga, with the size of the city and a historically impressive academy, but that will not stop critics of the multi-club model, understandably. If and when Liverpool have a sister club, it will be overseen by Edwards, along with FSG's technical director, Julian Ward, and director of football development, Pedro Marquez. In other news, Darwin Núñez's transfer fee is still a club record for Liverpool, who are now close to having paid the full amount agreed with Benfica on his move in 2022. Núñez swapped Benfica for Liverpool ahead of 2022/23 after two stellar performances against the Reds in the Champions League the season prior. The Uruguayan took the number 27 shirt upon arriving, but later inherited the number 9 following Roberto Firmino's exit, but he has struggled to live up to its reputation. Liverpool are yet to pay more for a player than Nunez, whose transfer fee eclipsed those paid for Virgil van Dijk, £75 million, Alisson, £65 million, Dominic Szoboszlai, £60 million, and Naby Keita, £52.75 million to top the list. So how much did Liverpool sign Nunez for, and how much of that have they paid Benfica? Benfica announced their deal with Liverpool as being worth a total of €100 million, or £85.36 million at the time in 2022. That was made up of a guaranteed £64.02 million and a further £21.34 million negotiated in various performance-related add-ons. Liverpool's initial outlay was therefore not as much as the deals for Van Dijk or Alisson, but add-ons would take it above that. Liverpool have paid at least £76.8 million of the overall package to sign Nunez so far. That includes the upfront fee of around £64 million, albeit with payments staggered over the length of his 6-year contract, and another £12.8 million in appearance-based add-ons. Reports in Portugal explained that Benfica would be owed around £4.3 million after Nunez made 10 appearances and a further £8.5 million after 60 appearances. Nunez has so far played 136 times for Liverpool, with his 10th outing coming against Rangers in the Champions League in October 2022 and his 60th against Man City in November 2023. The remaining £8.5 million and change is linked to individual and collective performance of the team throughout the contract. Almost certainly, while Nunez can be judged as a disappointing signing relative to his transfer fee, Liverpool have still won the Carabao Cup and the Community Shield during his time at the club so far. He is expected to add a Premier League title to that this season. Furthermore, Nunez has scored 40 goals in his 136 appearances for Liverpool to date, along with 24 assists. The details of the performance-related bonuses agreed between Liverpool and Benfica are as yet unknown, but they will very likely have included the above. That means there will be very little of the remaining of the £8.5 million still owed. Finally, Bayer Leverkusen's Frimpong has been named among the candidates to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not that he is a natural right back. And out of the blue on Thursday evening, the Press Association claimed Liverpool had held initial talks to sign the impressive 24-year-old, but no one else backed up the report. In fact, it was the opposite, with the Echo's Ian Doyle insisting the club are not in talks over signing the Dutch international, with such claims labelled premature. Expect a lot of this back and forth over the coming weeks and months, as seemingly every Liverpool player is having their future questioned, with possible replacements already lined up. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. We post all the latest Liverpool news every day, so join our fast-growing community so you never miss out. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.